welcome to episode 38 of the BlokeBusters podcast. I'm Paul.
And I'm Brian.
And today we're going to be talking about X-Men Days of Future Past. Now, this film was directed by Bryan Singer, who had all of that controversy around him, and I'm not
who fucked up a couple X-Men films.
I'm not going to bother touching on the personal
and the Superman
movie. So the budget was $200 million.
Is that all?
Yep.
Okay.
And the box
What a
office, again, if you listen to Godzilla, you might notice that as of May 26th again, so you might be able to realise that we could be recording these fairly close together. 301,576,604 worldwide, and yes, that is opening weekend. So
Jesus.
This is going to make a lot of money for the studio. So, how would you even begin to give a synopsis for this
Well,
film?
first of all, the most confusing title I can ever remember.
Well,
Future Past.
Taken directly from the comics. So
Okay, I'm not a reader of the comics, so anyone out there that is, just curse my name.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily a reader of the comics, but I do know a fair amount of that stuff. So.
And I am well established on my feelings of time travel. Correct?
Yes, we are.
A la Looper.
So, without me using IMDb or anything, this film is basically a future which I am very dubious to say is directly from the third X-Men film.
Yeah, I need to. Sorry to interrupt. I need to look online when I buy all of these films and have them all. I want to arrange them chronologically, not in the time they were released, but in sequential order of events.
I could actually give you that if you really wanted it.
Yeah, but so this would most logically, like you said, follow The Last Stand, right?
Yeah.
Some years later, though. Many years, I would think.
Yeah, I mean,
later.
It's one of those ones where this is supposed to be in the 80s, correct? Yes.
What is?
This one, I'm fairly certain it was in the 60s. Vietnam, when was Vietnam?
Well, they sent him back to 1973.
73, yeah. I'm not good on dates on this stuff, mainly because
How are you on raisins? Are these better?
Raisins are...
Better than dates?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I can take them or leave them.
Okay.
One thing that I didn't fully understand is I'm fairly certain that the Stryker guy...
Yes.
I could have sworn that Wolverine Origins took place at a date before this film. I must be wrong, because they had the younger Stryker in it.
Yeah.
But I was kind of shocked that he didn't have the metal claws again.
Yeah, just the bone. Yeah, just the bones.
However, he does have the metal claws in the future. Would anyone sitting next to me like to remind people what happened at the end of the Wolverine film? When he no longer has any metal claws.
Yeah, yes. But where does that fall in the timeline of things? That
is something that happens before the beginning, as it were, of this film. So that happened before the future that we're seeing.
Okay, so technically it's The Last Stand and then the Wolverine.
Yeah, it's Last Stand, the Wolverine,
and then X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
Yes. That is quite a conundrum.
Yes, it is. The only thing I can think of is because Magneto is on their side, he has somehow done something to allow the metal to go back on the claws? Maybe?
I don't know. Please, answers, audience, please.
But anyway, that's why I say I'm slightly dubious about where this falls. But anyway, so, yes, in the future, the Sentinels that are able to absorb the powers of,
adapt
and kill
to any power.
Mutants are destroying and enslaving mutants. Again, the weirdest thing I find about this is...
there really much enslaving? It seems mostly destroying.
Well, that's the thing. There are camps for these mutants. Yeah. How the hell did they get there when the Sentinels appear to exist to kill mutants?
Yes, there is no handcuffs that the Sentinels carry. It is just arm through the chest, just spiky arm through the chest, you're dead. Yeah, tear your head off.
Laser beam.
Yeah, open up my face and shoot a laser beam at you.
Maybe they're programmed so that if the mutant surrenders, they stop, but...
I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, I guess briefly we should go into the premises that they need to... So anyway, there's no way to defeat this enemy.
Yeah.
That is said in like the opening of the film. You cannot defeat this enemy.
This thing cannot be killed anymore.
So, logically, the only way is to avoid this ever happening.
Yes, you stop the thing that happened to make this happen, so that it doesn't happen.
Which was Raven, a la Mystique, killing Trask.
Yes, who is the inventor
of the Sentinel program.
And because that happened, they definitely went ahead with it. Because they captured her.
It shows, look how dangerous mutants are, and we gotta protect ourselves.
Because they captured and interrogated her and tortured her, and then took her DNA, that was what caused these Sentinels to be able to take on the abilities of others.
So,
I don't agree with that, because her thing is she can change her appearance and her voice. She can't take on the abilities of others. Rogue can do that.
Rogue can do that, yeah.
But she can't. So I'm not sure how her DNA would...
Yeah, you think Rogues would be more valuable than Mystiques.
Yeah, but... I mean, maybe if they had a line in there of how, because that had happened when they found a mutant that could do that, as in Rogue, they then took her ability and used that in the Sentinel. Or even, if you really wanted to link it, the serum that took away the powers also absorbed a little bit of said powers, and they then took that into the project.
And once again, I've gone cross-eyed.
Yes, oh no, not again.
It's best not to think about it.
Yes, just sit down and enjoy yourself.
Anyway, Kitty Pryde, Ellen Page, whatever, has the ability to send people's consciousness, not themselves,
to phase them back
into time, and she usually does this minutes or hours, or even a couple days at a time.
I believe they say 4 days
was the most she had ever done, something like that. And he has to go back decades, 40 years, 50 years, whatever.
Because what they originally wanted was to take Xavier back in time, but she says that it would rip someone's brain apart, which leads to Wolverine saying that
can heal as fast as he is hurt.
Now, the interesting thing about that is originally the idea is that Kitty goes back in time. Now, there would be two things wrong with this in the new version. Actually, there would just be the one main thing wrong with this. Given that she is, 16 at the end of the third film? Something like that?
Yeah.
So she wouldn't have even been born. Her parents probably would have only just gotten out of school, I think. Do
you see my issue with time travel films? So trying to maintain a canon across the series.
So obviously they went with someone that A, would be alive back then, and B, would be the same age back then.
Yeah.
So...
And like she said, you're still going to look the same. Yes. Good news is you're still going to look the same.
Yes, the one plus to it.
So anyway, yes.
So plot of the film is stop the future from happening in the past.
Yes.
There we go.
So the present is her sending Wolverine's consciousness back, which I'm still not quite sure how that manifests itself in the past, where they can see a full apparition of a body.
The idea is the consciousness is dropped into that past version of themselves. So it is the past version of themselves, but the future self is controlling it, as it were.
Okay, gotcha.
So all future knowledge, blah blah blah.
So it's like that horrible Bruce Willis movie Surrogates, but you're controlling your... If anyone saw that, I'm sorry you had to pay money to see that. But instead of you're controlling yourself, but in another time. Yes.
Yeah. I know for a fact that there is a film that does that, and I've forgotten what it is. So when I remember what that other film is that did it, I will let you know.
Footnotes. Okay. All right.
I thought it was a good way of solving the problem of the fact that, we can't send Kitty Pryde back, and then also, the person's got to look the same. Obviously, it's going to be Wolverine. I'm sure that the main reason that they did that, though, was the scene where he lands back in his body, back in 73.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that's the entire reason that Wolverine was chosen for that. For those of you that haven't seen it and are listening to this, not sure why, but anyway, yes. Upon
if we're more entertaining than Wikipedia, we thank you.
Yes. Upon arriving back in 1973, he gets out of bed totally naked.
A waterbed, which got a great laugh in my theater, which I'm like, okay, it's a waterbed, I get it. All right.
Yeah. Oh, look how retro this is. It's a waterbed.
Oh, it's a lava lamp in a waterbed. Yeah.
Which to me
and there's Roberta Flack playing or whatever.
To me that invokes the 60s, not the 70s.
It's a little mishmash. I mean, sure, there's a little cultural lag, but
whatever.
Exactly. So I didn't live through either of them, so
he stands up and walks over to the window totally naked. So,
yes. Wolverine butt right in your face.
Now, I didn't seem to get any reaction to that in my theatre. Then again, there were only 12 people in it. So what about yours?
I was in a pretty packed theater, unfortunately, because we know how I feel about packed theaters.
Yes.
And I had people on the left and the right, and I had one armrest, and I was upset. but there were a couple of oohs from the ladies to my right. Yeah.
So I'm not entirely sure where we should start with this. I'm not even going to really bother doing a cast list because everyone knows who's in it now.
Yes, hopefully this isn't your first X-Men film. If it is, what is your problem? Why are you starting here?
I would say if it is, good luck to you. I mean,
good luck. You must have been really lost because I was slightly lost, and you're like, "What the fuck is happening?" But so you do have the established characters, and then there are other actors playing those characters. Sometimes for the first time, sometimes reprising those roles from First Class. First Class, Eric and Charles were played. Do you remember?
James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender.
Yes, both. Yes, so those are the same characters.
I will actually say I don't think there's a recast.
Is there any recast as a new character?
No, I mean there are new characters, but there's no recasting.
Remind me, Beast was
Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah, in First Class. Okay, all right. So
they even got the guy who, and apologies for not remembering straight off the top of my head, the guy who technically should be Scott's father, if we're going that route, but he's too young to have fallen into that. Anyway, the guy who has the energy rings around him, he had trouble controlling it in First Class, and he seemed to be better than it. Same guy again. Same actor. They were really good with getting these people back.
I did briefly want to say second mention of Nicholas Hoult on this podcast. Do you remember what we first mentioned him in? Without looking at... Oh, have you done your research, sir?
Well, no, I know he was in Warm Bodies.
Okay. Well done.
I know he was in that.
All right, yes. He was the lead in Warm Bodies. Yes. That was the first time I became aware of his name.
He's doing well in what I've seen him in so far. But and then you've got the giants.
You've got Storm, who's kind of just there, I thought.
Yes. The biggest problem...
Why was Halle Berry in this movie? She had nothing to do in this film other than be killed and then, spoiler, not be killed.
There are two things I will say about her character. Number one, she was supposed to be in it more and have more to do with it. However, Halle Berry was pregnant and therefore had to not do as much.
She had a storm within.
Yes, indeed. Number two, her character in the comics is far superior to her characters in the film. They just couldn't go that far into it without giving lots of screen time to it. And so she does just kind of seem like here's Storm.
She was scene, she was scene decoration or set dressing, whatever.
I mean, she is one of the most powerful mutants in the comics. It's just that they can't really go with that in the films.
And I would have loved to see more of Rogue in the flashbacks. Or
again, her scenes were deleted. She was in it more. Which I enjoyed, and this is
because she
is jumping to the end.
No, do you see the end credits? She gets like 4th or 5th billing, and she's not even in the fucking movie. She's like in there for 8 seconds. And how the hell did she get above like Ellen Page and like Jennifer Lawrence or whoever? I don't know. Like, she's got a great agent. That's all I can say.
Well, she was in much more. It got cut apparently, from what I've heard. The deleted scenes are going to get their effects finished. Yeah. So when you'll see them on the DVD, there will be full scenes. Yeah. Which should be good because I am going to assume that everything we have seen up until now, based on the ending of this, which shouldn't really be a spoiler because, hey, it's what they set out to do. Chances are it's going to happen. They managed to stop that future from happening, and at the end, everyone's alive. So, Rogue has her powers, it seems, at the end of the film. Yeah. And you see her together with Bobby, which, obviously, if you've been following the film, her and Bobby broke up because she got rid of her powers. And he didn't want her to do that, and then Bobby and Kitty got together, as it were. So, yeah.
Thus ends the Twilight portion of this podcast.
It's one of those things that the relationships within them are one of the things that really do drive the film. The only issue is talking about the relationship within them doesn't really drive anything else.
No.
So
drives it into the ground. That's what it does.
So, where do you want to go now? Like, what would you want to talk about now? I've got a few things that
I want to talk about Peter Dinklage.
You want to talk about Peter Dinklage? Okay.
I want to talk about him because I had heard he was going to be in this film.
Okay.
Months and months and months and months ago.
Yeah. Well,
I thought, it's for your Game of Thrones fans, obviously Tyrion Lannister, who he's just been crushing it on that show, and.
So I hear.
Yeah. But, so I was excited for that, and I thought, that's going to be a couple scenes or something. He's, I would say, the backbone of the film.
Yeah, well,
he's what the film is centered around. Yeah. Without him, there is no plot.
Yeah. He's not seen so much at the film. He is the guy that's creating all this stuff, but as you listen to him talking in some of those scenes, he's not doing it to wipe out the mutants or anything. He's doing it because he fears the mutants. He
respects them so much that he realizes in order for our species to survive, they cannot.
It's kind of a mixture of that, plus it's a defense. Yeah. It is built as a defense. Obviously, where it goes from there is on the offense.
Yeah, and which I don't want to get too political, but it is mirroring the kind of last big war where it's a preemptive strike, where we're so afraid of our enemy that we're going to snuff them out before we're even really threatened too much.
Yeah.
So, I think there was, I think that's a legitimate parallel, but I think he was just absolutely awesome. I just think he's an awesome actor. Who cares? Fuck you if you care if he's short, because that doesn't matter. He's just awesome. Like the station agent was when I first knew about him, and he's just amazing in that. And he's just a powerful force. And I loved the 70s hair on him and the mustache, and just him at the congressional hearings.
Yeah, it was kind of. Not that I know too much about it, but it kind of put me in mind of Tom Selleck.
Big bushy mustache, and I don't know. I just thought he was a really welcome surprise in the film. That's why I wanted to talk about him.
Well, it was good. It was really interesting to see where they went with it, because all I knew of it was that this guy created the Sentinels. I knew about that from when before they showed the fact, like, Trask Industries, blah blah blah, in that end bit of the Wolverine. Like, the second they said Trask, I was like, Sentinels are going to be next, because I knew he was a creator. Well, and then they really did humanize the creation of it, which I thought was a fantastic idea.
Well, this character could very easily been one-dimensional. You see in other movies, like, this is a character, we don't need to delve into him or anything. It's just this guy that created this thing, and it could be played by anybody. And now, having seen this, I'm like, Trask of Peter Dinklage.
It's always nice when you're surprised by that. When they give a character something that it's like, okay, I thought this character...
Because essentially he's just there to facilitate the story, keep it moving forward. And he has some things to do, but you're really there. We're there to see mutant shit go on, And for his scenes to actually hold my attention, I was really happy with.
Yeah, it was good. talking about mutant shit going on.
I love it.
how about we tap into Quicksilver? Now,
Quicksilver, yes.
Now, I wanted to bring him up for, I think, a different reason that you wanted to bring him up.
Mm-hmm.
Two things. Number one, Quicksilver is Magneto's son.
He is.
The character Quicksilver is the character Magneto's son.
Okay.
They have
No. I didn't think it was the actor. Yeah. I'm not that dumb. Thank you.
I know. But obviously...
First of all, Magneto, I don't think is into having kids.
No. Well, that's the thing.
Not adopted, maybe.
No, that's the thing. In these films, they have completely ignored some of these things.
That's not brought up at all.
For instance... Quicksilver in this film is almost certainly not Magneto's son, especially since he's been stuck in the Pentagon for so long, and he would have been...
So you're saying in this canon he is not his son?
I think in this canon they are completely ignoring that entirely.
Because there's no dad, so they didn't rule it out. I mean, there is just the mom. Like, is she just heard? Did they show the mom? I don't remember.
They did, and she
briefly,
sends him downstairs and doesn't appear to acknowledge Magneto whatsoever. Now the other thing I wanted to bring up is, do you remember the mid-credits in Captain America, you saw, in a cage as it were, a woman who was controlling some bricks with psionic powers and a guy standing up moving quickly. That's Quicksilver as well.
That's Quicksilver.
That's not played by the same guy as this. It's just that is Quicksilver. So in the Marvel universes, which obviously X-Men and Avengers are together, they're in the same universe, but they've got two different Quicksilvers now.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what's going to happen here.
Well, I think that might have just been a scheduling or something issue where we're not supposed to look into, like, it's a different Quicksilver.
Well,
it's supposed to have been Evan Peters who plays Quicksilver in this.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. I mean, they've got Aaron Taylor Johnson playing that Quicksilver in the...
Zachary Taylor Thomas is playing that Quicksilver? He is Zachary Taylor Thomas from this point on, okay?
I was going to say...
listen to Godzilla, it'll make sense. Okay.
but yes, that was him.
That's him? That was him in the Captain America thing?
It was, yes.
Wow. All right.
I was going to bring that up in the last one, but I figured, no, I'll save it for this because I want to bring up Quicksilver.
All right. Blow my mind again, Paul.
So yeah, Quicksilver in this, I thought, was well done. Like, the character of Quicksilver in the comics, the main reason that he is so just kind of brazen and the way he is because it's stated that for him, the world is moving too slow and he has to wait every second for it to catch up to where he is. I believe I remember correctly in reading that the character has stated, you know, when you're at an ATM and the person in front of you has absolutely no idea how to use an ATM and so is having all these problems with it. Imagine having to deal with that every second of every day. Everybody you meet is that person. And you're stuck at all these ATMs. That's what this Quicksilver is supposed to be. And I think they did it really well. Like, this guy is just so far ahead of everyone else that he kind of goes along just because it's new. It's like, the thing that gets him is you get to break into the Pentagon. That is
just a new experience for him. Yeah, and just the scene that illustrated it so well. And I mean, he's there partly for comic relief, which I think worked very well.
I enjoyed his comic relief.
But the scene in the kitchen where he just goes around rearranging all the bullets, messing with their hats, making the guy punch himself,
and you get to see just how he is, it seems, constantly moving at this speed because he just kind of pops his earphones on and away he goes.
And it would be like a full minute for us to do all that. It took him a fraction of a second.
I'm glad that they finally showed some of these things. Like, you've seen before Xavier freezing everyone in the room with his powers, so it seems that this time is stood still, but this is where you really got to see someone moving that quickly done really well for an extended period of time.
Not moving quickly like Man of Steel style. Where
not
it's just a blur. Blur.
I mean, if this was Man of Steel, everything would have happened. They just would have cut out him doing everything.
Cut all the interesting stuff out. Yeah. Yes.
It would have just been fire. Oh look, they're on the floor. Oh dear.
I guess I'll just have to piece together what happened there. Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. I was sitting 2 rows in front of someone who thoroughly enjoyed the Quicksilver comic relief.
Oh, yes.
Man!
My chair was getting rocked by the people laughing around me. It's amusing. It's not hilarious.
The thing that made the person behind me laugh the most in the entire film was just Quicksilver repeating the word whiplash. Which is funny, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's not that funny.
No. Slightly amusing, yes.
We should probably move on before this turns into more cinema audience rants.
Yeah.
Well,
agreed.
Again, harkening back to the Godzilla review we did, what is it with doors? At the end, Magneto gets the secret room from out of the White House. He uses his power to open the door and throw it away.
Yeah.
He then rips the entire front of the thing off and throws it away.
Yeah.
Why not just rip the whole thing off with the door? Like, it was open the door, they're inside, rip it off. Now I get you. Like, what?
Dramatic effect. He's got a, he's wearing a helmet. He has a penchant for drama.
True,
like Batman.
true.
Theatricality has its role.
Yes, I suppose.
So that is all I needed there. Yeah.
It was just one of those things I was just sitting there, like a week after I've seen Godzilla, I'm sitting there, and he's just going, and to the door, and you can see from the inside the door's moving, and the door goes away. I'm just going to take the wall away. Not enough of a hole for me.
Yeah.
So it was coming from Godzilla of why did they go through the door with nothing around it to why didn't he get rid of the door with everything else?
I think you might be reading a little too much.
Unless he needed to get rid of the door to get those magnetic waves around the side to pull that side off. If they're willing to just go with that, I will.
Sure, let's go with that. That's the answer. All right.
So I want to know, how do you feel they did with integrating the 2 timelines in this film?
I was expecting a lot more back and forth than there was.
Right.
I know we spent most of the time in the 73 timeline, which I understand, but I was always waiting for that other shoe to drop. Which they tell you about in the beginning of the film, like they will find us.
Yeah,
the Sentinels, they will find us eventually.
There is no running this time.
Yeah. And so this has to work, or we're all dead. So I'm always waiting for that other shoe to drop. That's always in the back of my mind, and probably always in the back of yours.
Yeah,
that's just how I watch films. I can't forget about that. So I was always waiting for that. But I did enjoy that timeline. I really, really, really enjoyed James McAvoy as Xavier. I thought,
he's good.
First Class was awesome. This, I think, brought another emotionality to it. There were scenes that were very emotional and heartbreaking and tender, and he played them so well. Yeah. Just like, I can't go back there. I can't use my powers again. I'm pretty much, he's using this serum now, but there's very clearly a correlation to drug use. Just like, I just need to do these drugs and forget about who I am. It's too much for me to handle. And
it's one of those things of, obviously, they allude back to everything that happened in the first film, and then they just say, like, him opening the school and then everyone being drafted. Okay, I get that, but it was just kind of a throwaway line to me of, like, well, they could have left it as the events of then, the fact that he lost his legs and the fact that he lost his sister. Yeah. Not biological sister, but still, he lost his sister, the person he's been caring for, as well as other people dying. Like, why couldn't that be good enough, other than you having to throw in, we opened the school and then everyone got drafted? It was not necessary, really. I think it would have been more poignant that what happened there has led to, and this has been going on for a while, so that it would be even bigger for him to go back to the way it was. But I am just slightly nitpicking a film that I did thoroughly enjoy, and that's just one of those little lines that got to me of like, okay, if you were looking to build a character arc, you didn't need the additional loss. The original loss would have been good enough.
But yeah, I just thought he was perfect as Charles Xavier.
That guy, I've really enjoyed him since watching The Last King of Scotland.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I saw him in, and he's been doing really well since then. And it's another one of those things of, you wouldn't necessarily know that Hugh Jackman is Australian from watching this. You wouldn't know he was Scottish from watching him playing Xavier. There's no hint of that accent there at all. I've noticed that an English accent is one of the most difficult to do for people, mainly because half the people that try and do an English accent don't know how to do an English accent, and then even if you know how to do an English accent, to do it well and to be, what's the word I'm looking for, where you keep doing it the same, I can't...
Repetitive?
I don't know. I've lost it. I
don't know. I just must say, yours is very convincing, sir.
Yes. I've been doing well these past 38 episodes.
Quite fooled with your accent.
Yes, maybe one day you'll find out where I'm actually from.
I'm an American, John Wayne. Yes, I am, pilgrims. Yeah.
Why would I say pilgrims?
Because that's what you would think Americans say,
I'd like to think I've been here long enough.
Howdy, pilgrims. Yeah.
Yes, I'd go the John Wayne route.
Yes, because that is your idea of Americans, isn't it?
That is my idea of America, is America. John Wayne.
Yes. Anyone knows who that is, yeah. Where to go? Fassbender. We got to talk Fassbender.
Oh, yeah, I think we do, yes. He is sort of becoming a powerhouse. I mean,
He is just going to start getting roles left and right, and... I think he's just going to be... I don't want to say like Tom Cruise because that's more action-y. I don't know. I mean, I think he's going to be like the Johnny Depp was of the 90s, the 80s and 90s.
Yeah,
I think Fassbender, just a chameleon.
Yeah, I also see him sort of...
I mean, when you think about this guy, it was the same guy in 12 Years a Slave. I don't think you've seen that yet.
I still have not seen that.
But when you think of that, it's the same guy, and everything else he's done is just, there's nothing. I mean, I don't know. Daniel Day-Lewis, watch your ass, is what I'm saying.
That's the thing. Fantastic actor. I'm sure people will say, a rather good-looking fellow.
The ladies seem to like him, yeah.
I even posted on our Twitter account a while ago, $1 billion movie idea number 1, a Full Monty remake, which, if you don't know what the Full Monty is, it's a bunch of people in England during the time where a lot of the factories were being shut down. They try to make money for themselves by putting together a strip show which they perform at the end of the movie, starring Hugh Jackman, Michael Fassbender, Tom Hiddleston, Benedict Cumberbatch, and James McAvoy. I think that would draw $1 billion from women alone.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things of...
Not to mention the blokes that like other blokes.
Yeah. And then anyone that would just like to see a Full Monty redone. And because I think all of the people I just named are people that are going to become the sort of the heavy hitters of Hollywood and television, I'll say. Because I don't know where Benedict Cumberbatch is going from here, because he's got a solid television thing with Sherlock going.
Yeah.
Plus he's been in a whole bunch of films, a lot of indie films actually, but he's been in a lot of films, so it'll be interesting to see where he goes. I think that films like this seem to showcase, you've got the talent from past, as in Patrick Stewart, you've got Ian McKellen, and you got to see some of the older people there, and then you're seeing all of these new people that I think most of the people with speaking roles, I will say, because there are some who don't, are really going to start, or have started, and are going to start taking off now. So it was almost a showcase, as it were, of talent past and future, I think, for this film.
Future past!
I know.
Oh, well done, sir.
Oh, thank you. So now I've written down here, what do you think of the fact that this film was basically a reset button for everything?
Yeah, because there's now a whole new timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't know what has happened until now.
Yeah, so. I mean, I'm okay with it. I mean, they had to kind of encompass all of these films. And so you're dealing with lots of different directors. You're dealing with lots of different writers.
Yeah.
So you can't tidily just group everything together.
No.
You know, and have everyone enjoy it. So I think I'm okay with this.
All right.
I think this is a logical step to have a reset button.
Yeah.
It allows me to enjoy the films that will come.
Yeah. Should be fun. Do you know, I'm assuming you can guess based on the mid-credits scene, mm-hmm. Do you know what the next film is going to be based around? Or
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse, exactly.
Yes.
Now, did you know that he was Apocalypse before looking into it at all, or did
No,
you...
I had to look into it.
I didn't know too much about the character. I just knew that he was Apocalypse, entirely based on the fact that there were 4 horsemen in the shots.
Well, that's yeah.
The fact that there were 4 horsemen made the click for me in my head. Okay, this is clearly Apocalypse. I need to look up this guy.
Yeah.
Now, this mutant Apocalypse, who again, it's mid-credits scene.
Well, end credits.
Mid-end credits scene. Then.
Okay, so there's nothing after that.
Yeah, no, there was no there was no end credit scene, and the character is in ancient Egypt. Obviously, at that point in time, it would have just been Egypt putting together the pyramid by himself. Yes. And the thing the people...
It was not ancient aliens, people. Yes, it was
ancient
Apocalypse.
Mutants, get it right, History Channel. Now, he is seen as basically the original mutant. He was the first person to have had this mutant power manifest in himself.
Yeah.
There are slightly differing thoughts on this, even within the comics, but still, this guy is seen as the original. And the Apocalypse that we're going to see moving forward will be the same Apocalypse. It is that guy. He has become immortal, kind of. And so, dealing with that. So it'll be interesting to see. I get the feeling that Patrick Stewart's character filling Wolverine in on what's happened is going to basically be, this is what happened, followed by now we see this Apocalypse character, and that will be the film. Kind of like this film was bookended by Future, Future or something. I think that's what the next one going to do. Either that, or it's just going to be, Apocalypse has turned up now, and now all these characters had to fight.
Yeah.
Which I don't think they do, as much as Marvel is willing to just kind of throw together a film with, a talking raccoon, cheese, or some stuff. I don't think that with this franchise they're going to take that big a leap.
No. This, they have to handle this a little more tenderly.
The only other thing I had written down was, did you enjoy the Star Trek nod there?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, on the screen. Yeah, I did. I think it was a little too on the nose, but I did enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not even really a Star Trek fan.
Neither am I.
I appreciate some of the stuff, and just seeing that, I was like, okay, that was nice. I like a nice little jab at what you're doing to yourself.
Yeah, I did enjoy that.
I don't really have anything else written down. What about you?
I know I did, and now I've lost it.
It's gone off.
It's gone off. Yes. Stall for me, will you, Paul?
Not a problem, sir. Well, I was going to go through this and wonder if maybe with the reset they're going to change Rogue's powers at all, because the Rogue that most people enjoy is the Rogue that has the ability to fly, and Rogue in the comics was able to over time develop her power so that she can slightly turn it down. It's still always active, but she has the ability to, if she gets someone's consent, then they don't have as bad a reaction, and she seems to get more powerful from it. Plus, if she doesn't get their consent, or if she wants to, she can cause them pain. So obviously against the bad guy, she can use that. So it'll be interesting to see if they're willing to change Rogue into the Rogue that people know and really wanted, rather than Suki, which I think is an interesting, because it really was just kind of woe is me, I can't touch someone, whereas in True Blood it's woe is me, all these people want me. Like, they're kind of very just sort of annoying, and of course played by the same person, so I thought I'd have a little jibe at that.
Gotcha. All right. I did recall what I was...
Aha!
Yes. So, when the epilogue of the film, Wolverine wakes up in the institute or the school for gifted children, or whatever they call that place again.
Yeah, it's Xavier School for Gifted Children.
Yes. He wakes up there, and then he goes into... Charles's office, and Charles is in his little hover chair, and Charles immediately recognizes that this is not the same Wolverine.
Right? Yeah. Wolverine
says "Welcome back" or something like that.
Because Xavier says, "Shouldn't you be in your class?" Oh yeah, what do I teach? History. That's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Why?
So at that point, I mean, they don't say it. Did Xavier look into his mind to realize he's lived another
I don't
life?
think so. I think what's happened is that the fact that, because he doesn't just poke into people's minds unless he has a real reason to. Yeah. So he's not going to suspect that this is a different Wolverine. However, the fact that Wolverine states that I'm a little fuzzy on everything that happened from 73 to now, he realizes, this is that Wolverine now. So...
But how does he have any idea what that means? What is 70? Why is that important to him? 73, or why is?
It's because obviously back then he not only was visited by a Wolverine that says that he was sent from the future, but he saw the change earlier in the film of that Wolverine going away, the Wolverine from that time being there, and then Wolverine coming back again. So. It's a different Wolverine, and so I'm sure over the years he's realised at some point this Wolverine is coming back. Yeah. It'll be whatever point in the future that we've changed, we're going to get that Wolverine returning. So obviously he could have at that point then gone into his head and been like, oh yeah, so that's what the timeline was.
Yeah.
He didn't do that. We didn't see that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they run with it, because you're going to have one character that has lived a totally different life to every other character in the films from now on. Exactly. So are they going to retcon again by having Xavier just shove the history into his head and make him forget? Or is he going to give him two separate timelines? Or are they just going to give him the basics so he can go, oh, okay, that's different. I'm not sure where they're going to run with this.
Either am I, and I'm interested to see. But, I will say I was happy to see Jean Grey at the end. I did enjoy seeing Jean Grey. And the little, nod to the love triangle at the end, with Scott. And,
now, I wonder
it was good to see you, Scott. Yeah. And he's like, wait, what are you at? What's your... It's not good to see me. What's your deal?
Okay.
Yeah.
They really should have thrown in the okay. They should have got him to do the exact okay from the first film.
Yeah.
You're a dick. Okay.
Yeah.
They should have had that in just to really make fans go wild. Alright, so I'm going to throw it to you then. What rating are you going to give this film?
I would give this a -2.
Okay.
-2.
I obviously, I know you're not a fan of time travel.
Yeah, so that affects it slightly because things just get muddled and you just accept things as fact, and then if you try to examine them, then it just all falls apart. And because as of yet, there's no time travel. So any premise on that is bullshit, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not. Can you concede that?
I'm not going to bother going into a theoretical discussion on
whether
time travel could ever
it's possible,
exist.
but has it happened? No. Well, technically, I guess we don't know if it's happened.
As far as we are aware, time travel is not possible up to now.
Yes. So, any premise based on that, you're just making up the fucking rules.
Yes.
So, so that is my inherent problem with it. But, that being said, a vastly enjoyable film. I loved it from start to finish. Yeah. I will watch this again. It has reinvigorated me. Slightly more so than Wolverine did in this franchise.
Right.
Wolverine, if you go back and listen to that, I definitely was excited about a good X-Men film again.
Yeah.
First Class being, I don't think it got its due credits. I think it's a fantastic film.
No, it was a really good starting point.
And I think Origins fell way short, and Last Stand fell even shorter. But I think this is just a great way to start things off again. And I love this movie. I think -2 is reasonable. I don't want to be overly in love with it and say -1 or anything like that. But I just think the way this film was handled with the storylines, I from the 73 to the present in the future, whatever it is, just that juxtaposition, just loved it. James McAvoy and Wolverine made the film for me. And Hugh Jackman, I guess, if I'm being consistent.
Oh, for God's sake, he's Wolverine now.
Yes, I know, but I used the actor on the one. Yes.
Alright, so now my biggest problem with doing the rating was that because I know so much about the lore and what they've changed, was trying to rip apart, like, I know this is different, I don't know why they've done that, from the film as a body of work. As a body of work, this film was really good. There was not much to the actual film itself that I could knock. And the story was good. It did keep you interested. As you said before, not as much back and forth, although I would argue that there wasn't that much happening in the future to facilitate.
But I mean, there could have been conversations had between Eric and Charles, or because you have two titan actors that have been in the business for 60 years or whatever, and you could showcase them a little more.
Well, I mean, it would be interesting to see more from Magneto talking to Xavier. About maybe regrets that he's had in the past before this war. So you could see maybe him feeling regrets about, let's say, the first film or something like that. So him realizing that wasn't the way to go, especially given everything that's happened. So
I did love when they shook hands at the end.
That was something that needed to happen. They couldn't have got away with without some sort of reconciliation gesture between the two. Especially, I'm still slightly sore on the fact that they haven't explained exactly what's going on with Xavier. He died, and his consciousness went into another body. They have not stated anything about how he appears to be back in his old body.
Yes, you're referring to the end scene in Last Stand.
The end scene of Last Stand, I mean, they're taking Last Stand as having happened.
Yes,
he died. And his consciousness is in another body. The only thing I can think of is maybe he is, I think I've said before, projecting his own self over the body into everyone else's mind.
Yeah. I mean, which he did multiple times for Raven in the film,
Yeah, I can see him doing that. It's just, they never address it, period. So,
well, I'm willing to let that go.
Yeah, and so am I, to a point. I just want something, even if it's just a writer has written down somewhere like, this is what I feel has happened or something. That's me picking at something from a long time ago. So I'm going to say a -1.5.
Okay.
I would go to -1, even maybe a little bit further, if you're just an X-Men fan of the films wanting to see this. The -1.5 is because people from the comics, there's going to be things that have changed. There's some characters that clearly the backstories have been totally rewritten. You've got to take that into account. and then they're gonna press more against the film. It's like, well, I wanted this, I wanted this, I wanted this. So I think minus 1.5 as a whole, really well acted film. I can't think of any continuity errors I saw this time around. Doesn't mean I won't find some more. But yeah, it was a solid film, and I will recommend it to anyone that likes sci-fi. My mother-in-law has stated that simply from the title, she will not watch it because she doesn't want to see a film that she has to think about. So,
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid you think about it.
We were talking to her about we were going to go see the film. It's like, oh, what is it? It's the X-Men film. Now see, the title, Days of Future Past. There, I'm lost. I'm gone. No, that's it. It's like, wow, okay. But you watch the other X-Men films. Yes, but the title.
It's just after the colon. It doesn't matter.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, my Lord. All right.
But anyway, I think we should probably leave it there.
I think, yes.
All right. Well, I've been Paul.
I've been Brian.
See you guys.
Bye.